He's out indefinitely, as
I
far
think
as I've heard.
I think a lot of younger and casual fans don't understand in terms of just the odds of staying healthy for a player in your late 30s. I don't think they understand how difficult that is. I know you can get ice baths and, remember Kobe with the ice on his knees and the big thing every game, do all that body work and whatever. It doesn't matter when you're in your late 30s, and especially we're both over 40 now. You sleep in a funny position, you wake up sore.
Absolutely. And welcome back to the What Are They Going to Say Now podcast. I'm Tony. That's Jay. And we're just going to get back into the swing of things after having a week off. How was your All-Star week, Jay?
Oh, they invited me. I showed up. I won the dunk contest.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. My Jay is actually an alias for Mac McClung.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
yeah, I hoop. What can I say? I throw down big dunks.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Did you get to watch any of it or any of the contests or anything like that?
Well, like I said, I was there. So, that was
right.
It was such a great experience. Everyone was really cool with me.
That was pretty cool. You
I
almost
have a
got
roster
all 50s.
spot.
Yeah, you almost got all 50s. There's that one.
Yeah.
I think Lisa Leslie didn't give you the 50, but
yeah, I know. I look 5'11" here, but I'm actually a little taller, and I got hops. So
that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah,
cool that you're going to still come back and do the podcast with me, but
Yeah, the G League was rough and all that, but now I got the contract, so
that's right.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man.
That tells you all you need to know about the current state of the NBA All-Star Weekend is that we're talking about the guy who's not even in the league as the main attraction.
That was the best part. That was awesome. It was fun.
Right. Very cool.
But
the game is just like
unwatchable. Literally, I couldn't do it. Yeah, I mean, it didn't help that I had nobody from the team that I really care for to watch. If Steph was in there, I'd watch just for the theatrics.
Yeah,
but it's just unwatchable. They don't care. The audience doesn't care. It's just like, what are we doing here?
Do you know what the All-Star game is like? It's like watching a bunch of James Hardens on the floor together. Like cool offensive stuff, maybe some traveling that should be called,
right.
And then no defense.
No defense, yeah. Just showboating out there. Yeah, just nobody wanting to actually put any effort into it. Yeah, which I get.
They should call it the James Harden inaugural or something. I actually don't dislike Harden that much anymore. I kind of like him on Philly, so I'm just but
I agree. I
had to make the joke.
I never thought I would say that after Houston, but
me either.
I agree with you. So, anyways, we're back. It was nice to get a little week off there, and while the NBA took their break. But we're back at it. Thought we'd get into some NBA talk and then some other stuff later, but these standings are still crazy, Jay.
The Western Conference in particular.
The West is insane. You have the 13th seed has 28 wins.
We've never seen anything like this. This is
28
new territory.
Wins, right. So the 13th seed, which is the Thunder, have 28 wins. All the way up to the 4th seed who has 33 wins. So that's a 5-win difference.
That's crazy.
Actually 4 losses too, which is insane between 4th seed and 13th seed. So it's just insanity. And it feels like right now, like everybody's treading water. Nobody's going on crazy runs or losing a crazy amount at the same time either, right? It's all kind of just little swings on a variation. So it's just interesting to see.
I don't think this is actually the case, but it almost feels like You know, when LeBron was on Cleveland and they were just kind of, and so were the Warriors at the same time, waiting through the season and then waiting to flip the switch.
Yeah.
It's like the entire league
Everybody's
is
waiting.
now waiting to flip the switch.
Yeah.
Probably to like the last month of the season. And then,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very strange.
Right. Well, I think injuries play a part in that too, right? Everybody's a little banged up.
For sure.
You know, everybody's got like injuries that they're kind of waiting to see. When can I get them back with enough time left in the regular season to make our actual run, right? But not everybody's going to be able to do it. If everybody's in that same boat, those last couple of weeks are going to be, you know, people fighting tooth and nail to try and get in. So,
yeah, you know, on that note, I know I was out on the Warriors. I'm kind of back in. I'm kind of back in.
He's back. Just when you think he's out.
I'm kind of back in just because, I mean, Wiggins has been out, Steph's been out, Draymond's been out, and Klay Thompson is kicking ass and taking names. He's fucking balling.
Dude, did you know that January was the best month he's ever had?
I know. He is balling.
In his career. Yeah.
By the way, a knock on Klay has always been like, well, he's with Steph and whatever. What could he do on his own? Oh, he's showing what he can do on his own.
Yeah.
He's the leader of that team right now.
And
I'm very impressed. You know, as a Claytheist,
right?
It's great to see.
Absolutely. And you know, because there was a lot of people, I think ourselves included, who after his injuries, because they were just so severe and back to back. I mean, it's just common sense to think, oh well, you know, he's just not going to get to that same level, right?
Right.
You know, I would say offensively, he's there, man.
He
is. He's
in
there,
the last
man.
month, he's had 2 games with 12 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And single-handedly carrying the Warriors for games, you know, where literally without his production, there's a
he is, in the modern phrasing, if you will, he is subtweeting Barkley hard right now in his press conference. He's like, people call me washed and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And he's just like, I'm fucking
I saw
back,
that press
baby.
conference.
I'm back.
I love it.
And I love it. Angry Klay is a low-key driver of this entire Warriors dynasty. It really is.
So you got Angry Klay. You got a rested Steph once he's back, right? Rested and hopefully fully healthy, recovered. Yeah. Hopefully we get Wiggins back. The Wiggins situation's a little scary, man. I don't know.
And he's been such an Iron Man prior to this.
It's got to be something family-wise. Something's going on with somebody health-wise, you know, where he just...
I'm not really sure.
They're being vague about it, which I completely understand. You see some idiots online saying, oh, you know, he just needs to man up and play or something. It's like, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It could be something crazy, you know, and I feel like it is, or else he wouldn't be missing as much.
Right. So, I mean,
but yeah, bring all this
team,
back.
Everything comes back because nobody is putting the, you know, pedal to the metal, really. I mean, Denver looks good, of course, more so home than on the road.
They got to show it in the postseason, though.
Denver's going to have a lot of pressure because it's like, MVPs, Jokic, who's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see it in the postseason, or we don't give a shit about your MVPs anymore. That's really going to be the story. Because, I mean, right now, he's the runaway, you know, front runner to win a third, and you really can't debate it. You can't. There's no argument against.
As I say, I know you don't like debating it this early.
No, but I mean, there's no argument.
There's no debate.
He's a machine. Yeah. But we're going to need to see it in the postseason, or it's going to become where the MVP, I don't want to say it loses its value, but it kind of maybe a little bit where you're like, well, cool, but let's talk in the playoffs, you know? And everyone's just, there's so many teams on autopilot. Kawhi has actually been fantastic when he's playing.
Yeah, he's locked
after
in,
missing the season, he had kind of a slow, rusty start to the year, but he has been really good.
Yep.
I mean, there's just all these teams, and I feel like more than any season I can remember, when the playoffs start, it's just a coin toss, and it's like, okay, it's on now. Right. What do you have? What do you got?
And it's all about matchups at that point, right? It's who do you match up well against? Who do you get matched up with in the first round? If it's somebody who,
Can you imagine Denver having to play Golden State in the first round? They do not want that.
That would not be good. They don't want to play them in any round.
Yeah.
They would rather the Warriors get knocked out somehow.
There's some ownership. There's some ownership there for sure.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Jokic is a problem for any team, but once you get past that, you talk about the experience and the weapons that they have. Yeah.
And Draymond is just good enough on defense to make him good, not great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. You got.
I mean, you've heard Draymond talk about Jokic. He's like, this guy is just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so much respect, right?
Yep.
Even when they, handed it to them in 5 games last season in the playoffs, he's like, but Jokic, man. Like,
it didn't feel like that was a tough series, man. It didn't feel
the
like
games were close. Yeah, and Denver is a better team this year, for sure.
Right.
So, I don't want the Warriors to have to see to flip it around. I don't want to see the Warriors have to play them in the first round either.
No.
Denver looks legit.
Warriors Kings could be fun if we can get up to 6.
Oh, it would be so fun.
That could be a fun series, man.
If that happens, you and I are going to some games. Woo! If that's happening, for sure.
Let me know, man. That would be a lot of fun.
I am going to be fully on the Kings bandwagon along with the Warriors.
Light that beam, man.
I'm for the Kings for anybody until they play Golden State, potentially.
Yeah, exactly. They're fun, man.
Yeah.
They're a fun team. Mike Brown, of course, we're
super likable. Super likable team.
De'Aaron Fox, I really like. Yeah, and they're good, man. A lot of fun. So, yeah, I mean, just
currently in the 3rd seed, just hanging around strong.
3rd seed, yeah. Phoenix, I feel like could try and push into that because they're getting KD back, or KD for the first time.
Yeah, we haven't
March
really
1st.
seen. Yeah, I was like, we haven't yet seen what Phoenix is going to be. Sharing the ball, I don't think is going to be a big issue. They said that when KD came to Golden State, is Clay going to get with Steph and KD there? And Clay ended up getting the same number of shots per game or more.
Yeah.
And I think Booker, KD, and then CP3 is a distributor. He's one of the best pure point guards of all time. So that's
he could take his mid-range shots when they're
especially in his later years here. He doesn't care about his numbers. He wants to just hoop and give the ball out. So I mean, it's a nice fit, and that Phoenix team on paper is going to be really scary. But we have to see.
Right. Yeah, because I wanted to get into a little bit about one of the other teams, super teams, I guess you could say. Well, I don't know if you would call it that, but
sure.
With Dallas. It's interesting, man. I don't know. I was watching the Lakers,
the Luka Kyrie,
the
situation.
Lakers Mavericks game on Sunday. I think I texted you about it. Mavericks were destroying the Lakers. I mean, I want to say they were up 29 points. I don't have the stats in front of me. It was,
and then Dallas came right back,
or Lakers came back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dallas was up. Yeah. They were
Lakers
bombing them
back
from threes. Yeah, and
this Lakers team after the trade it's a much better team.
They are
much better team. That was actually a fantastic trade for the Lakers. Right. It really was.
Absolutely. Vanderbilt has been awesome for them, man. And they got some 3-point shooting. They're just much more balanced.
Except LeBron is now injured.
I was gonna bring it up. It's not looking good. Yeah.
He's gonna be out for weeks at least.
So I was watching that game. It is a bummer. I was watching the game, and it was kind of a weird. He drove to the hoop and fell awkwardly.
Yeah.
And when he fell, he kind of landed on his leg funny and lay down. He said, "I felt a pop." And I said, "Oh,
that's never good."
He literally said that twice.
Ooh, that's not good.
He finished the game. He got up, played the rest of the game. They won. You know what I mean? But I kind of was like, there's going to be more with that. So he's out indefinitely. As far as I've heard.
I think a lot of younger and casual fans don't understand in terms of just the odds of staying healthy for a player in your late 30s. I don't think they understand how difficult that is. I know you can get ice baths and, remember Kobe with the ice on his knees, the big thing every game, do all that body work and whatever. It doesn't matter when you're in your late 30s, and especially we're both over 40 now. You sleep in a funny position, you wake up sore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's killing me today. What happened? You're like, I don't know. I just slept funny.
Yeah.
So an NBA player in their late 30s, the tax on their body and trying to stay healthy, the odds of it are just so low. And I actually think it's underrated. And LeBron is fantastic when he's feeling good on the floor still. He looks great. He looks younger, but people don't really factor in enough just Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, it is.
And it really is. Yeah.
He's been putting in a lot of minutes too, trying to carry them because they've been so bad before this trade. So I think that's part of it, that wear and tear, right? And like not getting a lot of rest and all that. And then, it was just kind of it was literally like a freak, not non-contact, nothing that happened to cause it. It's just, but
he slept the wrong way.
Right. So, but you don't want to see injuries, right? I mean,
Oh no, because that team is far more interesting now, and frankly more likable.
Right. Yeah. All the pieces it's just all fit better, right?
And now Westbrook is on the Clippers.
Yeah.
And that's going to be because the John Wall thing didn't work out. So now they're filling in that spot with
I was shocked
with Westbrook.
I think we talked about it on the last pod we did because that hadn't been finalized yet. And I just said, I hope they don't make that move because I liked when we played the Warriors played the Clippers right before the break, I believe. They were like super deep and they were rolling, man. It was like, this is a good chemistry. It looks like a fun team. And then they went out and got Westbrook and I was like, I guess you take a gamble, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a Westbrook hater or anything like that. I just feel like
I am. I'm a hater.
Okay. I don't care for his game where it's at now.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
I have a whole, bottle of haterade. I'm a hater.
Well, I also feel like he's also made scapegoat on I think we talked about it on the last podcast.
That's
the
very
Lakers
much
situation.
True.
It was like that was BS because that first of all they brought him in, right? Like
it didn't make sense, and it wasn't his fault.
They had a lot to do with him being there, right? They wanted him. Yeah. They brought him in, and then
I know.
It
so
didn't fit,
I'm a defender in that case.
Yeah,
in general, I'm a hater, but
right.
Yeah,
I don't want him on the Warriors. But
there were rumors about him going to the Warriors, and it's are you joking?
No.
That makes zero sense.
Thanks.
The Warriors have their own situation. They have to figure out their roster spots with Lamb and
they got two ways.
The two ways, and they have to finalize that contract. Ty Jerome, and they've been playing a ton of minutes.
Yeah. I think they have. What do they have? 20 games left between or for each of them. I think, or it might be less than that. I'm getting those numbers wrong, but they have to kind of balance out.
This is such a weird.
Convert them if they're good.
Yeah.
Right.
This is such a weird season. Do you remember how the old mantra is for the NBA? Well, the season starts on Christmas, right? Now it's like the season starts on like Easter.
Yeah, right. After All-Star break.
On Easter. It's going to be like early April. Like, okay, where are we at?
All the teams kicking into gear, right? Yeah. So.
But I do think, like I said, this has actually been, honestly, one of the more boring regular seasons because it's just so everybody's just kind of like ebbing and flowing and treading water.
Yeah.
But I think we are setting up for one of the better playoff runs. Like,
I hope so.
League wide, I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited for how the playoffs are going to be because there's not going to be juggernaut favorites.
No,
it's like we just said. Let's say the Warriors end up as a 7th or 8th seed and they play the Nuggets in the 1 seed. You're like, that's a toss up,
right.
Like this is going to be a great playoffs.
Absolutely.
And there are 7-8 teams that in theory you could see winning it.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing in the East has some teams towards the bottom once you get past like the 6th seed.
Yeah.
The Nets are in the 6th seed right now. So I would say that, 6 down probably doesn't have a big chance. But like the Knicks are fun, man. The Knicks are the 5th seed right now. They just beat up Boston last night. Like that's a fun team. The Bucks and Celtics, 76ers, Cavs, they're all going to be there. Like those that semifinals conference finals, it's going to be fun in the East too, man. I think there's going to be like really good teams who come out of both conferences. So, and that's all you want.
Yeah. I'm excited for like April.
Yeah.
April. We're just kind of trading water still. It's
Absolutely.
In April, I'm going to dial in and watch even more games. And like, it's going to be really good down the stretch. Everyone's just kind of waiting, which does lend itself to the argument of having a shorter season.
Right.
That's not going to happen because,
no.
the players say they want a shorter season and you're like, how much less money do you want? And they're like, oh, never mind.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
82.
Like,
let's go 92.
like, oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. And that's been the big discussion lately is player rest, having that built in. People need to get over it, because I would also say, I mean, what do you expect? Like Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, guys who have missed seasons, real injuries, real stuff going on. You expect them to play back-to-backs, especially on the road? Like, that's just stupid.
That's another thing our guy Charles Barkley was going off about. I don't know if you saw that interview, talking about how, they fly private and they need to get out and play, and just this old boomer talk. And I'm just like, dude.
Yeah. I mean, he's not 100% wrong, but there's a little truth there. There's some of that.
Right.
But
he's right that there's differences, but it's a completely different game now.
The biggest argument against the resting is, well, here's the thing. Look, I look at the schedule and I look at the games, and I'm not going to buy tickets to a Warriors game on a back-to-back, because I know
they're going to rest.
Yeah, and so it's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
So I understand there's a lot of casual fans who don't even understand. If I said back-to-back, they're like, what? They wouldn't understand that.
Right.
And that does suck for the casual fan. I absolutely get it. But, Tom Tolbert, former Warrior, brought up on KNBR this week. He goes, and broadcaster. Yeah. He goes, hey, look, Larry Bird, towards the end of his career, would grind it out and try and play 82 games a year. He would grind with his bad back, right? He would play whenever he could. And if he had just rested more and whatever,
it cost him years, right?
It probably cost him years off his career. So would you rather miss Larry Bird on some games, but then have him for a couple of years longer?
Yeah,
I would say yes. So that's a good counter argument.
And he's also someone who's crippled now, basically from his playing days.
His back. Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. He can barely walk. So I mean, I'm just saying, I understand.
There's all those
mentality.
old clips. There's all those old clips of Bird laying down on the scorer's table, laying out,
stretch his back out because he's playing crazy minutes. So
so there's that, and I know a lot of the old heads like to argue that the NBA was more physical, in the 70s, 80s, whatever, which is nonsense. They had harder fouls because guys didn't get kicked out of games so easy and all that.
It's still physical,
but it's also it's harder and more physical on defense.
Yeah,
you have to cover the perimeter,
right?
They track this. The number of miles traveled per game per player is up substantially because you got to get out these big guys. You're not guarding the paint. You got to go out to the outside, pick and rolls, all that. They travel so much more. So it's more taxing on your body now. And they always do these. You'll see a highlight clip of the 80s Pistons bad boys banging guys up and stuff. But it's that's a highlight clip. Watch an actual game.
Right.
It's not all like that. So it's tougher on the body now.
Some of those games were terrible. It was not 80 to mention 75 were the final score,
The athletic prowess as the higher level. So you're banging bodies with guys who are just fit too. And it's tougher.
Absolutely.
It's just people don't like to acknowledge that. But that doesn't take it away from the fact that Jordan would play 82 games and it was awesome.
Right.
Yeah. And Kobe put his games in too. Same way. Very impressive. You can't take that away. There is a mentality there.
Right.
Although I would also argue, Kobe and his knees, could he have actually strung out a couple extra years if he had taken it easier?
Would he have torn the Achilles? There's a lot of, it's hard to say. Hindsight's 20/20, but it's just funny, some of the arguments, mostly Barkley. He's just so angry about everything, just down talks the product he's trying to sell, which I don't. Chuck
he's trolling us all though. He's just doing this thing. He's whatever.
Yeah, he's very well compensated for it.
He does not believe half the stuff he says.
Right. So, but yeah, that's I don't know. Do you have anything else on the NBA? I feel like that we're just kind of shuffling the chairs.
Dame had that 71-point game.
That's right. Thank you for bringing that up. 71 points. Yeah.
Very impressive.
It's impressive. No matter how it's done.
Even if it's against the Houston Rockets.
It's still impressive. Rockets. Yeah. I have some of the stats here. Let's see. So he was 22 of 38 from the field, 38 shots. So I mean, it's impressive, but that's a lot of shots. 13 threes.
But that's efficient. 71 on 38. It's pretty efficient.
Right. Yeah, 13 threes.
You can't knock it. It's not like Kobe. It's not like Kobe's last game.
He was
Remember
gunning,
that? Remember?
Gunning.
He had like 50-something attempts in that
Now,
last game.
don't get me wrong. Lillard was gunning, okay? They had him in the game in the fourth quarter. This game was over. They were up 20-plus points, and he's gunning trying to get
But I love that. I love that. It's like Steve Kerr wouldn't have let him do that. Because we've seen how many games have we seen Clay or Steph where they could have kept going, and it was kind of like, come on, man, let him go. Right. So I was down for that. I was down for that. So and I love Dame. So
I'm a Dame guy too. You know, it's just
Oakland.
I was absolutely Oakland. Yeah, I was happy that Clay's record stood intact though, the 14 threes.
Right.
So
did Dame get to 12?
He got 13.
13. He got to 13.
Okay. 13.
Right there. So
didn't get that 14. So
yeah.
Clay Thompson keeps that one.
Do you think Dame stays in Portland through this contract, or do you think he ends up somewhere else finally? I kind of want to see him on the Contender.
I know, but that's been people have been telling him to do it. People have been saying, that's how you get a championship. And
I know that one year they were like the 3 seed, and the Warriors just curb stomped them.
Yeah,
with Curry hurt, they weren't real contenders that year. Sorry, Portland, but it's true, and it. I don't know. I would like to see him end up I don't see him finishing his career in Portland. Actually, because I actually think the Portland fans would be happy to see him go somewhere and succeed because they love him and they think he's like
everyone
faithful.
In that whole situation would understand, right? If he just said, you know what, like I put my time in, this and that. I mean, I think he just really loves the team. He really loves that it's his team, right? If you go somewhere else and join someone else, that's not really your team anymore.
When you think of the Portland Trailblazers, you think of Dame and Clyde Drexler. Those are the two names that come to mind, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably if he finishes in Portland, Dame finishes in Portland, he will be Portland
beyond Clyde.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say even now.
Clyde did take them to the finals, and lost to MJ. But,
Clyde was great.
But those two rise above the rest. It's clearly that's who you think of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I wouldn't mind seeing him give it a try on a Contender, at some point before he retires. But
I think I could see it happening.
I don't know. I feel like
player movement.
Yeah, I feel like he should have done it sooner, though, right? Like he should have made that decision. Like if he would have made that decision last year, right? Or like when McCollum went.
He was injured. He was injured. He missed most of last year.
Right. So. Yeah, that's true. But you're telling me somebody wouldn't have traded for him?
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, like he could have said, you know what, this is a sign. Like I've been here. I put my time in. It's just not happening. Let me see what's happening on a Contender. And like you said, nobody would have been mad.
Right. So I think it'll happen at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was an impressive game. 71 points. You're seeing and there was another 70-point game. Mitchell also had 71 this year. I think that was the first time ever, maybe, of 2 70-point games in one season, which is.
I can't believe how much I like this Cleveland team. It feels wrong to me as a Warriors fan, but I like them. I like them.
Yeah, they're fun, man.
Yeah.
Mitchell's a star.
Yeah.
Mitchell's a bona fide.
If Cleveland plays Boston or Milwaukee, I'm rooting for Cleveland. I'm rooting for Cleveland. Although I like Giannis a lot, but I'm rooting for Cleveland. I think
Milwaukee would win, but Cleveland would be pesky and someone who you like, you know what I mean?
I think we're going to see a hell of a series between 2 of those 3 teams.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Philly in the mix too.
Yeah.
The East, those 4 teams in the East. It's those 4 teams in the East, right?
Yep.
And that's going to be, man, the playoffs are going to be so good this year. They're going to be fantastic.
You're just going to diss the Knicks like that? There's 5 teams in the East. No, I'm just kidding. I had to say that for my brother-in-law because, they are so hyped on this Knicks team, man. I'm getting texts all the time telling me what Julius Randle's doing.
I will cheer
Brunson.
for the Knicks. I will cheer for the Knicks above all of them because I would love because Knicks fans are the best.
Yeah, man. when the Garden is rocking,
Knicks fans and Warriors fans, like old,
yeah.
I'm saying Warriors fans like several years ago, pre bandwagon and all that, are just like, I don't care if our team sucks, we ride or die. You know,
fill that place out, man. And when they're good, like when the Knicks are good and the Garden's rocking, like it's different, man. So no, it's fun. It's the East is fun, and it's the West. We have no idea what's going. Like we said, we have no idea. But so yeah, did you want to move on to some NFL stuff we got going on?
You know, one last note. The Atlanta Hawks fired McMillan and then just hired Quinn Snyder, former coach of the Jazz, who really good coach. He did. I mean, I think he made those Utah teams with Mitchell and Gobert together and the whole thing. And, you know, they would be like the 1 seed one year, right? Or whatever. They're always high up, and they flamed down the playoffs because I just think Mitchell was too young. And then, you know how I feel about Rudy Gobert. I think he's fatally flawed as a player.
And he's French.
I had a couple of friends give me crap on the last opening of the podcast. They're like, what's wrong with the French? I was like, I love I like France. Really good coach. And I think that's a fantastic hire for, you know, with Trae Young. And I think there's going to be, I think that's a really good move. So we'll see what happens there. There's a lot of talent there.
I like that. I like the hire. I think
that's a sleeper team rolling in the playoffs. Yeah. That's a sleeper team that he puts that together there.
Yeah.
Especially if him and Trae Young hit it off, like I think that's a sleeper team that could make some noise. You know,
really good.
The potential and talents there.
Defensive coach, really good X's and O's. Just always very meticulous and like his game planning and like all of that. I think it could be a really, really, really good fit. It might take them a while to figure that out because they've been so like run and gun and like. You know, I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does with that. But
Snyder's gonna probably install a new system, I assume, to some degree.
Yeah,
because they need it.
But they need it. Yeah, exactly. So cool.
Because what they were doing under McMillan was you know, Young and Murray was like, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Right. And it's like that's not a good offense.
Yeah. Well, and also they were clashing. Trae Young and McMillan, that was just that was that was going to go into a bad place. So it was going to happen at some point, and it was going to be the coach.
We talked about it early in the season. Yeah, it was a topic we brought up. Yeah.
So cool. All right.
Well, NBA treading water. It'll be really fun playoffs coming up. So down the stretch, we'll have plenty to talk about.
I even think this month, once March hits, really, I think it's going to like start to gear up. Yeah, so.
People are going to see March Madness in college and realize how shitty college basketball is,
and be like,
I used to love March Madness, and now, and honestly, in like the last several years, I'm kind of
You don't do any bracket challenges or anything?
Oh, I do it. It's just the quality is not there. It's the one and done teams,
right?
You know, and it's kind of a bummer. Like and also they expanded the bracket when they did that maybe 10 years ago. I think it lost some luster. And like the first round games, a lot of them are way more boring now.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know. That's just me.
We should do some kind of bracket challenge for the pod or something. Just like on our say what you know what I mean. Like
I
know nothing about college basketball.
Me either. That's my point.
It would be fun.
It's boring,
right?
Yeah. No, that'd be fun. We'll do we'll do a bracket.
Nice.
All right, so moving into a little NFL news. Post Super Bowl, we had so for the Niners, Brock Purdy's surgery was delayed.
Not good.
And that is a major concern. And now even if his surgery is a situation where we have to see when we get in there, which is a really common phrase for surgery, and it's true.
Right.
Is it going to be a Tommy John or is it going to be the regular surgery? Leaning towards a regular surgery, but it's going to be a game time decision once they're in there. But then they can't even get in there now. Too much inflammation to do the surgery.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that you actually have to like heal before you can do a surgery, because you don't want to, I guess, operate on inflamed parts.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So now the timeline, even for the short surgery, the timeline. That's 6 months, whatever. So the Niners are Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not Purdy comes back and takes the job over or not or whatever, but Trey Lance is now in the driver's seat for the 49ers, coming back from his own massive injury. But, an ankle injury is less concerning for a quarterback than an arm, elbow, shoulder surgery, But so that changes the entire dynamic of the timeline. He still hasn't had the surgery. He's supposed to have it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So now it's Trey Lance time, and then will Purdy come back and take over the spot? Because Purdy was amazing. So
that's the question, right? Is it automatically like, hey, like he's healthy, he's ready to go, throw Purdy in? Does it depend how Trey Lance is doing? Like, there's so many questions now.
Right. So we are going to have a lot of conversations about this come like August, July, August, September. Yep. I mean, it looked like originally, if that surgery was done, it was a 6-month deal. He would be training camp on time, but now everything's flipped on its head. So it's Trey Lance time.
I mean, I feel bad for Purdy because he was just he was playing so good. He didn't have a chance even against the Eagles to really do it.
The Cinderella story, and now he might not get start. I mean, if he doesn't get hurt, he's a shoo-in to start for the Niners next year, no doubt, right?
Yeah. I mean, I gotta be honest, like I'm a little excited for Trey Lance just because, like,
see what we have.
It was also just kind of messed up what happened to him. Like he didn't really have a chance with like the team that we have now,
right?
And like all the weapons to show what he can do.
The one full game he had was in the slop and rain in Chicago, and you just couldn't even evaluate a quarterback on that.
Right,
it was
Yeah. So, it's is it a great situation?
It's going to be very intriguing.
No, it's not a great situation, but I'm kind of
But overall for the Niners, you have Lance who still has that potential. We've seen some throws for him that are very impressive. We still have Purdy. He will be back at some point.
Yeah. You still have
that's
all
going
those
to be
weapons,
a really interesting quarterback competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
At some point. It's going to be a beaten to death talking point early in the season as that all unfolds. But I'll tell you what, having two good young quarterback prospects is not the worst situation to be in.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And Shanahan is really good at managing these personnel, quarterbacks, Jimmy G, all that. He's shown he can kind of roll with whatever. So I have faith in Lynch and Shanahan to be able to handle that. But that's going to be one of the biggest stories next season in the NFL early on.
Absolutely.
I think. And then maybe through the season.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how far that goes. You had some Russell Wilson news too, right?
Did you? So the Athletic did a report on Wilson at the end of his Seattle tenure, and he was trying to get Pete Carroll and I'm sorry, I forget his name right now, the Seahawks GM, both fired.
Wow.
Strong KD vibes right there.
Right.
Both traded. He was trying to get them both fired. And I mean, I'm not a Pete Carroll guy, but that guy's legit. He's a great coach. He's a great coach.
Like,
he's been successful everywhere. Actually, he was a Niners defensive guy for years.
Right.
He has, and then USC. He was very successful. Won Super Bowls.
I didn't know
in Seattle or Super Bowl, but he's been to Super Bowls and. Great coach. So Russell Wilson trying to get him fired, that coming out, I believe it because it was let Russ cook and all that. And
I'm just glad management said, you know what, we're good.
Yeah,
actually, what I mean? Like they did great.
Actually,
this year.
I don't like the Seahawks. No. So actually, I wish they had listened to him.
Fire everybody, blow it up.
You know what? Denver fans probably wish that too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Who got the better end of that? Pete Carroll or Yeah.
There was an interview a couple weeks ago with Sean Payton, Denver's new head coach, talking about how Wilson has his own quarterback coach and all these people, whatever. And they're like, how is that going to be with you? And he basically goes, that's not really how we do things.
Nice.
Payton is going to drop the hammer. I love it because I like Sean Payton.
Yeah.
No nonsense guy. So, Russell, you don't need your own office in the building. You don't
Right.
need your own quarterback coach separate from my quarterback coach. This is my show. Because honestly, like, big swinging dicks in the house, Sean Payton's got the bigger swinging dick than Russell Wilson. He does. Right?
I agree.
He's like, and I
you
love
have to
it
as a coach, right?
Yeah.
If you come in and you're just gonna like do whatever Russell Wilson says, like, no.
Yeah. So much as I am not a Russell Wilson fan, I actually think that's going to be very successful, and we're going to see a bounce back year from him and Sean Payton.
I could see that.
Yeah. Because Sean Payton he's a really, really good coach. He's really good.
I love him as Saints coach.
There's a reason he is now by far the highest paid coach in NFL history. $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Do you remember when like $5 million a year was a big deal a couple years ago for a coach? $20 million a year.
20. Yep.
Yeah. And
good
just
for him.
And he's like such a likable guy too, and just like no nonsense, complete. So and that's what Russell Wilson needs. So I'm actually going to make an early call that like the bounce back team of the year, you could see Russell Wilson as the comeback player of the year.
Okay, interesting.
Because I mean, he went to how many Pro Bowls in a row? He's really good. He's got the skills, but he needs someone to rein it in, like Pete Carroll did.
He is. I'm still worried
until
about,
he got too big for his britches.
Yeah,
but Sean
I'm still
Payton,
worried about their personnel a little bit. Like you still have to have like a good team around Russell Wilson to. I don't know. They're going to have to make some.
I have a lot of faith in Sean Payton, and I think Wilson was so bad last year. He's not that bad. He's not that bad.
Right.
That's my early call for comeback player of the year. I should go check that out and lay a bet, and it'll feel dirty. I'll be rooting for Russell Wilson to be playing well. But I think it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else NFL? I think that was pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's about it. We got the real off season hasn't even started yet. Right. I did want to talk a little about LIV Golf.
Nice.
And also, Netflix rolled out Full Swing, the behind the scenes PGA Tour golf series, similar to Drive to Survive?
Yeah.
The F1.
F1, yeah.
Yeah. Thing.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. It's entertaining, man. It's very good. I don't know a lot of the players. I know the big guys, but
and they did it in a way that it could appeal to people who are not deep in the golf world like myself. Right. It opens it up, and the later episodes actually get with some more. It starts out with like Spieth and Justin Thomas, who are big names. It gets into some more obscure guys, and it goes pretty deep and is very open and honest, and pretty cool to see. And there's a couple of the LIV golfers, guys who went to LIV, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. Wait till you get to the Brooks Koepka episode.
Okay.
He's a head case. He needs a good sports psychologist.
Really?
It's in his head. He was injured. He's won major tournaments, like 4 of them,
right,
at a young age. And then he was injured, and I think he was legitimately scared of his future earning potential. But now he's healthy, and rumors are he regrets his decision.
Wow.
And you see the episode, and you're like, that checks out. He's in his
talk
head
about it. Does he talk?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I definitely got to see that one.
And now some of the guys who went to LIV, the Saudi backed league, are they're full of shit. And we're trying to grow the game, and blah, 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 blah. And what I did appreciate is Dustin Johnson. He said, I get to work less and make more money. That's it. And I was like, you know what?
He's honest.
Putting aside whatever morality you want to place with the Saudis, and I don't want to get in that conversation. Yeah. It's tiring. I appreciate just the honesty of it. He's like, that's it. That's it. I get to work less and make more money. Because he's done a lot in his career. And I was like, I can totally respect that. That's cool. Don't, the guys who are insulting us with their propaganda bullshit, like, oh, the Saudis have changed. It's like, no, they haven't. And we're growing the game. No, you aren't. No. You're chasing the money, and that's cool. So just say you're chasing the money, and that's cool.
And move on.
That's fine. And move on. And and those guys are all still allowed to compete in the majors, those who are qualified, but which is good. It should be that way. There was a talk of like them not being allowed to, and I don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
Especially like Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson, Koepka, those guys have won majors. They have exemptions based on their past record, regardless of their official world golf ranking.
Okay.
100% they should be allowed to compete.
Right.
The idea that they shouldn't
Put the time in. Yeah.
is ridiculous. But honestly, the Netflix series, The Full Swing, it's 8 episodes. I thought it was fantastic.
Nice.
I wanted 16 episodes, and I hope they expand it.
Season 2.
It's really well done.
Yeah. Definitely gonna try and catch up with the rest. Maybe I'll do a report back once I've watched it all. But it's fun,
I would love to hear a non-golfer outside opinion of it. I think it's really well done.
Seeing. I feel like you don't get a lot of behind the scenes, kind of like how those guys like travel around, and like you get a lot of that in other sports.
Oh, you will even more in future episodes.
Yeah,
more.
I thought that was cool. I'm like, wow, okay, you don't. And
you get
into
like caddy player dynamics. That's like a work marriage. That's a marriage,
right? Yeah. That's cool.
And then on top of that, you'll have like the caddy player dynamic and then their wives. And there's just, I always found that interesting. There's got to be a lot of weird dynamics. Like you're all good friends, but like, well, your husband is my husband's boss, technically, that kind of stuff. They don't really get into it, but you kind of just sense it and it's there. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting look. So yeah, I want to hear when you finish it.
For sure.
What you think more of that.
Back.
But yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice.
So, and they chose a great year to do it with all this live golf stuff going on. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that was on the first episode. They were like, "Well, you chose a great year to do this," or something like that, with all the drama going on, or something.
Oh yeah, Rory. Does not hold back. He opens it up. He does not hold back.
I like that.
He has a couple. You'll see, especially in the last episode, he has a couple banger quotes.
He
doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Can't wait. I like Rory. That's my guy.
They're talking about Phil Mickelson. Phil led the whole live golf tour thing.
Yeah.
And Rory's like, "Fuck Phil," and leave that. I hope this makes the episode. Leave it in.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
And I was like, that's my guy. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Let's go. So good shit.
That's awesome.
How often do you even, in other sports, you don't hear that? Like just outward, just disdain for somebody else, just like on camera. I don't give a shit.
Active players? Yeah, not really.
Yeah. No, I mean, Phil's, over the hill. He's in his 50s. He's not really,
still,
but,
I mean, he's.
But I was like, oh, hell yeah. So good stuff.
Awesome. Definitely we'll catch up on that. So I think that's about it. I don't know if we have anything else.
Yeah, no. I almost was like, I don't even have much to talk about, but here we go.
There's always something.
Yeah. So I think we're probably going to stick to a every other week schedule for a little bit. And then when the end of the NBA season
we'll definitely pick
going,
back up.
Baseball will start up.
Yeah.
And funny pitch count stuff going on already with that, the game ending. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. All right.
We'll go back to a weekly basis, but I think for a little bit in this lull, we'll go every other week. But yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe and share if you can. Instagram, YouTube, all the places. We appreciate all the love. And until next time.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.